Welcome to join the conversation. Today is the 25th of July, 2026, and I'm excited to be here. And I've got a lovely guest. To those who don't know what join the conversation is, it's where I interview women from all walks of life. So if you're someone who would like to share her story, her wisdom, or the nuggets that she has, you don't have to prepare. You just become yourself. So this is a safe space that you can be in. And to those who will be listening to us as a replay, type replay. And if you've got questions for our guests, to ask as well. And throughout to those who are joining us, welcome. So ask questions. I'll relay them to our guest. And it's an honor to have our guest. I know her for many years. So I'm so excited when she said, yes, I'll be part of your conversation. Without further ado, I'm Mashudu and 𝗖cie_HEK𝗃𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗏. I've got so many names. I know people say, who's Mashudu, who's 𝗖cie, but that's me. That's the beauty of it. I'm a life transformation coach. Also, I'm a metallurgist. I'm an NLP practitioner and so many other roles. But today is not about me. It's about our guest who's going to help us to share nuggets and also to empower you. I trust you are tagging your friends, and if you've got kids, because she's a catalyst of change, she brings out the best in people. So do take them, bring them along wherever they are. Already we've got two guests, so welcome, guys. Say hello, tell us who you are. Without further ado, I'd like to say, Thembi, welcome. It's a Saturday. I know during the week you've got a busy day. Tell us more. Who are you and what do you do?
Okay, thank you, 𝗖cie Mashudu. I know the other name I will not mention. As you've mentioned, we've known each other for years. So I am Thembi Mkhize. What I do is I'm a senior manager, a general manager. I'm in the mining industry. We actually met with 𝗖cie in our studies for metallurgy. So I was once a metallurgist. I've since evolved from that a lot. In senior management, you work a lot you do a lot of leadership and directing of people and teams and strategies in the work. So that's what I do. But outside of work, I'm a mother. I love children, really. I do, particularly teenagers. I think they are just young people waiting to be heard and guided. So I spend a lot of my time with them, my daughter's friends, my niece's friends, um, our family children as well. So when they say there are a lot of facets to a person, so I think just like everybody else, my makeup is a lot. It's made up of a lot of things. But I've got a couple of core values that I would like to share with the audience today. Integrity above everything. I grew up with a father who somehow, without telling us that this is what he was doing, he made sure that we cannot lie. I'm terrible at lying. So solution is to steer clear from it, but I do think that upbringing did instill the integrity in me, and I found that that works and goes a long way, even in the professional environment, definitely in the community and the family space. I am a kind and generous person. By that I mean I'm sharing of my time. I'm sharing of the blessings that I have and that have been entrusted to me. I am sharing of my knowledge. I think that's one of the reasons I decided to join this conversation. I do wish I had more time to do more things, but my job is quite demanding, as you said. During the week, it's impossible for me to do this. But I am looking forward to retirement. I'm not as young as I look, so in a couple of years, slightly more than a decade, I will be directing my time to doing more of outside the professional space things I want to do. Um, I'm a coach as well, not professional like yourself, Tsieni. My coachings are in the forms of meetings that I have with people in the personal professional space, questions that I answer about people, basically asking what they can do to improve their lives, to improve their careers, to resolve whatever problem they have, even guidance on careers. Fortunately, my daughter is in matric this year, so a couple of her friends have really been approaching me to say, do you think this would suit me? Do you think I can do this well? And because of the integrity that I hold very close to myself as a value, I give honest responses. Uh, it doesn't help that we don't prepare the future or we don't prepare the children for things that they will be successful in. I do believe that everybody is passionate about something, and our studying it's a guide. It's a help to basically understand it more and then shine. Yes, Tsieni, she was a metallurgist, and I think she saw her call earlier in life. She's now a coach, um, and not everybody can do it, right? I think it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of trial and error, just like everything almost in life. But if you get the proper guidance early on, I think you can um, flourish in whatever environment. So I do see myself as coaching to the young, even if it's a conversation, even if it's a text, even if it's just an inquiry about wanting to understand better about the industrial world in general and other aspects of life. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's me. I am very approachable. I I'd like to believe I am calm. Others might not agree with it. I do get angry. Everybody does. I do get frustrated when things are slow, results are not coming as quickly as I would like them, or some people just don't want to do the right thing. But I maintain my calm in as many situations as possible. I don't know if that answers who I am or what I do, but let's leave it at that for now.
Thank you so much. It does answer who you are and what you do. I want to piggyback on what you just mentioned when it comes to careers. Let's say I wanted both. Let's say there's a grade 10 and who's looking at their career, or there's someone in university or someone who has got a qualification but they feel like they made a mistake. What would you tell them? What is the message? How can they navigate those challenges?
Um, I think there is no limit to, or time frame rather, to by when you must have the answer. I know of people who've started a career when I was a graduate, I think, or still just a learner metallurgist in Carltonville. There was a guy who had gotten his degree in metallurgy, was already working, I think he had 2 or 3 years in. He left it and went to study medicine, right? So our realities differ. Our realities are not the same. It might be that you started studying law, for instance, and you really want to be an engineer. So I think when you are at that age, for the grade school learners, it's easier because you can change your mind. But once you've invested 4 years onto a degree and you want to change, I think the understanding that it will cost you money to do another one, it must be there. If you have the money, you can change immediately. I don't know what the average life expectancy is. It might be 60 years, it might be 80 years, but I would not encourage someone to spend 30, 25, even 10 years of your life doing something you do not like. So if you can change, if you think you've made a mistake and you already have your first degree or whatever qualification, I would say kindly continue and go and do what you want to do. So yes, for the younger children, I think it is important that the teachers, the families, the community, even the churches at times. I mean, that's a good community. You know, I grew up, we had a subject called guidance. I think it's done a bit differently now in schools, but you know, where you get to be told or tested or assessed for where your passions lie, what you could be good at, etc. I think we must provide information. A CEO I respect a lot in my career once said to me, you know, Thembi, sometimes we underestimate the value of information and we take it for granted that everybody knows what we know, and that's not the case. Some people don't even know where to open doors that for us, it's like it's simple, just go to that office, you'll get your help. So it is important that we share this information with the young and with the understanding that they are, you know, they don't have the confidence that we have as elders. They might be afraid to ask certain things, but if we are to steer them in the direction where they are going to flourish as adults, excuse me, as adults, then we must definitely share information, send them to assessment centers. I do believe there's quite a lot of them that are done, and some of them can be done quite economically. It doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. So that's that. Thank you.
Thank you, Thembi. You are a metallurgist. Someone is listening says, oh, because sometimes people, when they see metallurgist, they think it's meteorologist. So I'd like you to tell them what it is. How does one become a metallurgist? And maybe just a short journey of your career and how do you transition to senior management? Because many people strive to do that.
Okay. Yeah, so I am an extractive metallurgist. There are also physical metallurgists. So we see a rock and we say, guess what? There's platinum in there, there's gold in there, and then we extract it through the processes, obviously, that we get trained in and the industry developed technology. So in essence, metallurgists, they make the metals. It is a bit of a mix with mineral processing. So we do take out minerals from how they naturally occur in the ground mainly. So that's what a metallurgist do, like myself in CNE. Physical metallurgists, then they will do the alloys. They will do the mixing basically of the separate chemicals with the minerals and whatever else they do. I don't have the extensive experience to create your steel and whatever alloys are out there that we use in the world. So that's metallurgy in brief, how I see it. And then my journey, I was sponsored by Anglo American for a bursary, and that was metallurgy. So I studied that at TWR. I know the young don't know what that is. It's now UJ in the Toronto-Fontaine campus. It was Technical and Witwatersrand at the time. So that's where I studied my BTech in extractive metallurgy. I then proceeded to join, upon graduation, I then joined the platinum side of Anglo, where I did my training. So my training was basically where you get to learn what is a plant. You know, what is I was in the concentrators. What is a concentrator? Platinum concentrator plant. So that's where I started my experience. During, if I can take a step back, so during my study towards the degree, I did to gold, what do you call it? My practicals in gold, yes. So I did my practicals in gold, so I had an idea basically of a gold plant, how it works. But upon graduation, I gained a lot of experience in platinum. So then I worked platinum for a good, I don't know how many years, um, maybe 8 or so. And then I moved on to the coal space. Uh, and then I've been in coal since 2009 to date. And so I went up the ranks in platinum until process superintendent level. I moved across to coal at the same level. And then I was fortunate that my principals at the time, they saw what I do, they saw what I can do. They then entrusted me with more responsibility to a point where I was appointed general manager in an underground mine, coal mine, where I was responsible for everything. And, then I had mining reporting to me, geology, rock engineering, survey, the plant, the lab, etc., including managing communities. So that's been my career really. And I think, in all walks, it doesn't matter what career you're in, there is someone that takes a bet on you as a person. And those are people who do change our trajectories in our careers. If someone never took a bet on me to say, yes, she's a metallurgist, she runs the plant, but we're taking a bet that she can run a whole operation, I would have not learned what I learned. And I'm grateful to that individual. And that's basically how I've moved into the role I'm at now in my current work.
We are grateful to the sponsors because even myself, I met amazing sponsors. And if you've got one, treat those relationships like your last breath because they open doors. They help you to discover who you are. And thank you to those leaders who opened doors for Thembi. We are grateful and for her to impact life because you didn't hire only a metallurgist, you hired an all-rounder who knows how to bring out the best in people because I told her she's a catalyst of change. She says, no, I just bring, I said, yeah, catalyst of change. And that is what you do. We're so grateful for that. My further question is, this year has been quite tough. How did you navigate the first half of 2026? How did you overcome those challenges that you experienced? Because all of us, we did. The whole world did experience challenges. How did you overcome them?
I'm still navigating. Um, so in particularly in my workplace, it wasn't a bang shock in 26. Yes, it's worse than in 25, but it started in 25, right? The I would say the other side of the coin where there was just different types of challenges. There's always challenges at work, and I think those are important. They basically bring out the best in us. They bring out the best in teams in particular, because I don't think any institution, uh, example is our country, no institution can navigate these crises alone. So I continued and possibly got closer to my team and to my principals in this year, but I continued to do what we were doing in 25. When there's a crisis, communication becomes very important in everything that we've been taught, in all training sessions that we've attended, in our day-to-day working. We hear communication this, communication that, but there's nothing worse than navigating a crisis as leadership and you do not communicate to the rest of business, because then they are left not knowing and making up their own minds as to what is happening, what is to come, what is to happen to the companies that we work in, to their livelihoods, to their jobs. So communication is key. And I often call impromptu meetings with my leadership team to say, guys, here is the issue, and I think what becomes very important is to not let go of the strategies that they were already started prior to the crisis. We if we react like that as business, I think we will lose the essence of saying, when we come out on the other side of this crisis, we want to be better. But there is a reason we started certain strategies 2, 3 years ago. So let's not obey those. Let's keep them going through this crisis while we're navigating this crisis. But to the rest of the team, communication becomes very important. On a personal, and this is something I encourage with my team a lot, take time to rest. We are all always switched on. We all always switched on. We are all trying to make the best of a bad situation, but burnout is a reality. It's not a buzzword. It's not it's not a word to sell things like this podcast or whatever platforms on social media. It is a reality. So it is important to take time off. So with my team, if a team member goes on leave, I encourage everybody, let's leave them alone. It's 1 week, we will survive. We will be okay. And that's important. So it's important to take care of yourself, because we need you to come back and help us as a team navigate the crisis further. So that's what I've been doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing at that, because you alluded to my question of saying rest. How do you rest? Because I know you being a leader, whether you're at work or not, you've got people who are, according to the Mine Health and Safety Act, who you are responsible for. Whether you might be overseas, you're still accountable for that. I think that is something that also I just want you to share, how as much as you've got this qualification and the role, how serious a person should take as well. The accountability is not just, yes, I'm this person, and the strain it brings on you as an individual. Because some people just say, no, my mom, my dad does this, but they don't understand the requirements and the obligation and the accountability that follows that route as well. And it might open someone's eyes and not take whatever they're doing for granted.
So you've mentioned now the MHSA. MHSA is law, right? And just like in most laws, as much as I don't know that much about the other types of laws, there is a phrase there that says a reasonable man. We need to do what a reasonable man can do. So if you have a team of people, a group of people you are responsible for, you need to tick all the boxes, that you've done all the right things, and you need to prove that as a reasonable man, you have done this and you've thought about the impact of not doing that. So the most important thing that I found works is putting systems in place. And some of these things are age old, they're not my creation. Companies run on systems. You need to have a system for training, for inductions, for refresh, etc., etc. Systems beyond that come to saying, how do we work with each other here? And once you have a system, it can even be a system of reporting when something goes wrong, a system of just being kept up to date, so that you as a leader, you can take that information and dissect and judge if it might be leading to a further crisis or a mini crisis within the bigger crisis that you are navigating. So I think meetings are important, because meetings, that's when you share information. So it will become important for leaders to not sit in a meeting and talk at people. Meetings must discuss. You need to sit as a leader and listen. to what the team is telling you, what is happening on the ground, what is happening anywhere else, and then decipher that and decide where do you need to prioritize the actions. So systems become very important, just to conclude this point, in the navigation of the system of any crisis. It can be strenuous, but I think putting systems and routines in place gives you that order, right? To say, yes, we've got this time, we've got a stand-up meeting, 15 minutes, beginning of the day, end of the day, where we're just letting each other know how it went today. Emergencies happen, and we know we are always uh, on standby for these types of phone calls. But if you don't have systems where there's structured reporting, or feedback, even maybe reporting will make it sound too formal, where there's that structured feedback, then you'll always be on standby. Your phone will ring nonstop. So that's important. I think leaders must do that. Thanks.
Thank you, Thembi. I think we have spoken enough about your career. So let's just talk about personal development. How is it? Why is it important?
Because people must grow, right? The years tick by. Personal development is it's a basic need. You cannot be a 40-year-old reacting like a 20-year-old to issues. You know, there are certain things that when they were said to me when I was 20, I lost it. But when they get said now, I'm like, oh, okay, that's your opinion, right? And you don't evolve like that without intent. Yes, certain things, the natural progression of the brain and emotions and all that will take care of. But in the workspace in particular, it's important. I read, so it's important, as you read, you figure out certain things. You get to learn that if Nsieni Mashudu comes to me today and says, Thembi, you are stupid, it's okay, that's your opinion, Nsieni. It doesn't define who I am, type of thing. So though there are a lot of such that you pick up as you read, listen to podcasts. Life has made that easy for us these days. While you are traveling from side to side, town to town, listen to a podcast. And you may listen to a 2-hour podcast, and you will not necessarily grasp everything or have everything that's said there that will change your life. But 1 or 2 sentences will land. I always use the same analogy with safety. In safety management, you say the same thing over and over and over again. But at some point, it will land. And if you change just 5 people out of 300, it's a start. If you change their behavior and they will influence others, etc., etc. So personal development is extremely important in that you also want to remain competitive, with your peers. Your peers are in senior management roles, but because you've never worked on your emotional intelligence, for instance, you always get left behind, and you wonder what is wrong with you, and you become bitter, and you job hop or whatever it is that you do to try and fill the void, instead of looking internally and saying, what am I not doing right? I think, in the past, I think, especially in the Anglo space, there was a lot of attention brought to high flyers. And to date, we have them. They've not disappeared. The training programs are still there. They may be structured differently, but if a person wants something, they will go and get it. If a person wants to not have problems, they will make sure they solve them before they escalate to their seniors. Nobody will tell them. But sometimes, it's naturally in a person to say, I've got passion for this. I'm a type of person that just likes to solve my problems quickly. But sometimes it can be developed as a person reads and listens and observe others. There was a question long ago where, you had to, you would be asked if you were to take 5 people to a dinner. for a conversation, who would we take? The list I did 20 years ago is different to the list I do now. I think 20 years ago there was Whitney Houston as well, but just because I like her. But it's different now because of the things I want out of that type of conversation are different. So yeah, thanks, Anthony.
Wow, guys, you're missing out. To those who have tuned in, welcome. I trust you are empowered. You're looking at your personal development. I just loved when she says personal development is the basic need. I've never heard it that way. We use different ways, but the fact that it's a basic need, you cannot evolve without working on yourself. Thank you so much for sharing that. And your journey, it has been quite amazing. Now, I'd like to ask, I think this is the pertinent about join the conversation, is what message do you have for those who are listening that will empower them? Because I know all of us, we go through challenges, but those challenges, they make us to be victors rather than victims. So what is your key message to everyone who's listening today? And to those who'll be listening to this, type replay and tag your friends and your families to listen to this amazing wisdom.
Thanks, Ntsieni. I'm also gonna keep it personal, right? When you go through life, social, life, family, life, work, life, community, challenges will be there. And some challenges might sort of steer you into becoming a version of yourself that you are embarrassed about. So my message is this: don't ever lose you. If you go back to saying, do not lose you. Solve the problems however they can be solved, but remain you. As you go up the ranks, as you win $1 million, as you do anything in life, always try to remain the you that's you. As I've said, I have a set of personal values. I'm not letting them go. Those ones. Doesn't matter what crisis I'm navigating in life. Those will remain my personal values. And those are things I check myself against if I've made a decision that sort of makes me uncomfortable. And it's immediate. It's amazing. Once you do something that goes against your core values, you immediately know it's uncomfortable. So navigate the crisis, navigate life, enjoy it where you must, but always be you. Thanks, Thembi.
Thank you so much for sharing that, to remain you. So the question is, why is this message important to you? What has made you to just share and say, yes, this is what I'm going to share? And I know some people, when they are listening to this, they are triggered. And for me, I love being triggered. When I coach, if you're not triggered, it means I haven't done my job because I didn't help you to think differently. And it's important to be grateful of being triggered. So why is this important to you, Thembi?
So as I've mentioned, I love children, right? And that's the future. And, if I've got a cheeky child now, I wouldn't like that light to be dimmed by life in 30 years' time. They must remain cheeky. You can use cheeky for good things, right? If I've got a graceful child now, I would like the child to remain graceful through whatever fights she's going to go through in life. So we are raising children that indirectly are looking at us and how we behave. And imagine if, as leaders, as parents, as these people that we are being looked up to, we were changing our core every second week. We would confuse so many young ones that are looking up to us. So, yeah, I think for me, this is pertinent because we are, and time is fleeting, by the way. We are here now, will not be here tomorrow. But I would really like to see the myriad of characters that are genuine to people and to what they hold dear to them, reflected to them in the next 50 years, reflected in them rather in the next 50 years. So for me, that's important. And I think in leadership, it is important to, you can't, this fake it till you make it does not work everywhere. It really does not. And the best way to not be fake is to be yourself, right? And some, I don't want to confuse this with situational leadership. Those are acts that you must do in order to respond to a crisis. But it doesn't change who you are. And we need the diverse people that we have in the world so that we make teams that work. But we don't want necessarily everybody to be a Thembi, a Mashudu, a whoever. So yeah, that's for me. It becomes important because it will bring out the best in the different teams. For now, for the future, if people remain themselves. Thanks, Tian.
Wow, wow. So we need you guys. We need your diversity. I trust you heard that, and thank you so much for sharing this. And to someone who is inspired by what we shared today, who are triggered, and you want to say, okay, today I got the courage, I'll go and speak about this because I didn't realize this is a relaxed session. I trust it was a relaxed session,
It was.
Thembi.
It really was. Thanks.
Yes, because it's a chat. You don't have to perform. You just have to be yourself. Just be you. She mentioned that you need to be you wherever you are as you navigate life. And thank you so much. With that being said, any final words that you want to share to everyone who's listening is, yeah, I learned a lot today. I'm so grateful, and even for your time, and to those who are listening and to those who listen later, we're grateful. So share the link, share to so many people, those who will never even get the opportunity to even sit. They might listen to it as they are driving, but do share the link with them so that they can hear this wisdom and the information we received today from a person who's humble. Thank you.
No, thanks, Diane. I think lastly, I would just like to say, different type of magic happens outside your comfort zone. This has been said in the past by many people. Um, so I'm quoting here, the fact that people have said magic happens outside your comfort zone, and I totally believe that. I'm not a I'm not very strong at social media. I think you know this, even on a personal front. As we speak, I don't have Instagram. I don't know if I'm missing out. But, I'm here. I'm doing this podcast. It's not necessarily my comfort zone. And I'm hoping it can inspire the start to change a certain life out there. So yeah, magic happens outside comfort zones. I truly believe that. Let's push ourselves as a people. Let's push ourselves as people who want to grow and to learn. And let's seek the sponsors. Let's appreciate them, and the best reward to any sponsor, it would be for us to really do well, really do the great work that inspired them to pick us as sponsors. Thank you, and that's that.
Wow, wow. Thank you for inspiring us on this. It's a cold Saturday. I don't know where you are, how it is, but I'm so
Okay.
grateful. I'm so grateful for you tuning in, and to those who again will be listening to this as a replay. Type, and if you've got questions for Thembi, I'll go and find those answers because she's not on social media. So this just shows you that anyone, it doesn't matter where they are, they come through to have this conversation and they just take their time to inspire you. And I trust you don't take that lightly. And from me, I'm so grateful. So tomorrow we've got another session at 6 p.m. Do join us here on LinkedIn or YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, do subscribe to the channel and also share what you're learning. I'm so grateful. Have a lovely day, and bye bye to everyone.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers.